Okay, welcome to this next video. Like last video, I'm going to give you a full comprehensive guide, but this time it's going to be on how to cut, how to shred, how to lose fat in a way which you don't lose muscle, is sustainable so you don't get hungry, you don't have cravings, and for how long should you cut, when should you cut, the mistakes you should avoid. I'm going to put everything into this guide. Again, it's going to be based on what I did, how I effectively cut, um, and what I believe to be the best way to go about cutting. So yeah, let me just jump right into it. So first, let me show you when I decided to cut, which is when I was fat. And you may be like, that's not fat. That's not fat. Listen, 20 to 25% body fat, which is what I was in this photo, is fat. And it doesn't matter if you're fat. I'm not fat shaming, but it's the effect it has on your health, on your heart, on your mood. If you are if you have a lot of body fat, it's not only like about how you look, but also how you feel. And you're just not going to feel as good as if you were to be like 12, 15% body fat. So forget like looking fat and not aesthetic. If you are 20 to 25% body fat, the quality of life is so much worse than if you were to be leaner. So that's what I mean when I say, you should not be fat. Not because you shouldn't look, fat, which is, I guess if you care about, how you look, which you should to a certain extent, but also how you feel is why I would cut. Because, the place I'm at in this photo is, much, much worse to where I'm at now and like at a leaner body fat. Just because scientifically, obviously it's how you look at yourself, but also scientifically, like the effect that excess fat has on your like way of thinking, your mood, as I said, is significant. So yeah, I was addicted to junk food. Yes, addiction. If you are eating junk food constantly and sugar and chocolate, it's not because you like that food. It's actually because you are addicted. You have a genuine addiction, especially if you're eating these foods from young, like me. You'll probably never get over that addiction, to be honest. But oh well. I'm gonna give you some tips as to how to get rid of cravings, though. So yeah, I was addicted to junk food. Took pleasure in like ice cream and cheat meals all the time. Didn't really care about how I looked, which was not good either. I've never really cared about how I look, which is, I don't really care about dressing. I don't care about fashion, all that stuff, right? So I guess that's also a good thing that I don't care, but also a bad thing in that if you don't care, you won't take action. So as a result, and I also had no discipline on top of that. I'm quite lazy as a person. So, and all in all, add those all up, you're going to be fat. Although I still had muscle. Like this was like 2 years ago, maybe. I still had muscle, which you could probably see the pecs. I had like big arms, shoulders, but when the fat covers your muscles, it's almost as if like you don't even go to the gym. That's how like kind of the black pill about being fat, especially like if you're like dirty bulking, like you could be huge. Like you see these guys in their dirty bulk, you look at them and like, holy shit, like this guy's fat. But then they like cut, and then you're like, this guy's huge and shredded. So like you can be like the drastic difference in look between like a fat guy with muscle though, and then when he cuts is huge. So although I had muscle, the fat covering it made me look way worse, obviously, which is just the unfortunate truth about being too fat. Even if you do have muscle, it's still not going to look that impressive. Um, and then the worst is the face fat. Like I get fat on my face more than anything, and like that's probably the worst. That's where I actually care about. So, um, you know, if you want to shred your face, this is another thing which can help. If you want to get that jawline, start mewing maybe. But if you lose fat on top of that, on top of mew maxing, then that's also good. And obviously, lastly, I wasn't walking. If you don't walk, you're never going to be lean. So, take that as you will. And then I cut during the summer for 10 weeks, only did 10-week cut. It was a pretty drastic cut. I'll be honest, I didn't do it that well, but it still was effective, obviously. But I will tell you what I will do differently next time I cut. But all in all, it's a pretty good cut. It's the leanest I've ever been, the happiest I've ever been with my physique, and obviously the happiest I've ever been mentally. Gave me a massive confidence boost. When I look at myself in the mirror, like as arrogant as that this sounds, like you'd feel good about yourself, which is like a great feeling. So, if you don't look in the mirror and you don't feel good about yourself, if you could just by cutting body fat can increase your happiness significantly. You know, it's as vain as that sounds. It's fucking true. So, you know, why not do it? Um, so this, I was around 12 to 15% body fat. This is me like without a pump, just like out the shower. I know it's kind of cringe photo, to be honest. I don't know why I chose that one, but yeah, basically the thing I noticed was more energy, more confidence, and more happy, and like increased happiness and more motivation and like ambition as well. And so here's how I did it, so that you guys maybe take notes, or just so you guys have a actual plan on how to go about doing this and how to know how to do it. So first of all, mistakes. I'm gonna start with the mistakes to avoid, and then I'll come on to how to actually do it. So most people cut too early, right? They'll maybe be in the gym for not even a year and be like, they'll start off fat, so they'll think they have to like, um, or they'll start off like skinny fat, like I did, and they'll be like, okay, I need to cut now. But really, like if you don't have enough muscle, your caloric in your the amount of calories you burn per day is not going to be enough for you to cut easily, if that makes sense. So you're better off doing a lean bulk for around 2 years, building muscle first before you think about cutting. Now, the only case scenario in which you would start with a cut is if you're obese, right? If you're extremely overweight. But if not, then don't cut if you're just skinny fat, especially if you're like skinny. You know, focus on lean bulking. Like, watch my last video if you need some guidelines on that before you think about cutting. So that's the first mistake. Don't cut too soon. You don't deserve to cut. And it's just going to be way harder than if you were to just wait another 2 years, pack on muscle, and cutting will be easy. Also, most people lose strength in their cut. This is what happened to me. And as a result, I lost muscle. So although I look lean, I lost maybe 4 pounds of muscle because I would cut my calories too drastically. And I wouldn't focus on like keeping my strength. I'd just go into the gym and do whatever and not track my lifts or whatever. And as a result, I was getting weaker because I wasn't really focusing on maintaining my strength throughout the cut and maintaining intensity. So that's a big deal. Do not get weaker during your cut, or else you will lose muscle. So do whatever you can, whatever you need to do to make sure that you keep your strength. And the way I did it was, if you're cutting, you're going to fatigue quicker. But that doesn't mean, what typically happens is you'll be as strong as if you were bulking within like the first six reps, 10 reps. But then after 10 reps, no matter what the weight is, which is the funny thing, you'll like start fatiguing. You like literally won't get in 1 rep. So like if I do 80-pound dumbbells when I'm cutting for 10 reps, I'll probably do 80-pound dumbbells when I'm bulking for 10 reps and still fail. But then if I'm bulking, I could also, sorry, if I'm cutting and I try go for like 11 reps, I'll literally like start fatiguing with like a lighter weight. So if I do 70-pound dumbbells, I'll also get like 10 reps. You know what I mean? I won't get 11, which is like a weird thing when you're cutting. But basically, keep the rep range to 6 to 10 when you're cutting to limit fatigue, but still, you know, failing within 6 to 10 reps. This is going to help with the recovery, and it's going to help you maintain intensity, because the problem is when you cut, you can't hit those higher reps. You know, hitting those higher reps is less optimal than hitting those lower reps, because you're just accumulating too much fatigue. You're already cutting your calories. You're already like, essentially your body thinks you're starving, but you know, in reality, you're just cutting calories. So really just keep it to that rep range, okay? Cardio and recovery. Now, obviously cardio is incredibly important if you want to lose fat easily, because it's going to allow you to have more calories, 1, and 2, it's just going to make the process more just easier, because you won't have to like, say I eat 2,500 calories on my cut. If I'm doing cardio, I'm going to be burning, 3,000 calories, 3,500 calories. So I can eat a bit more, for example. But also, if I eat the same, I'm just going to be getting the same amount of nutrients, the same amount of food. So I'm maintaining my muscle, right? I'm getting in good enough calories. And then basically I'm just going to lose more fat throughout the week rather than muscle, because I'm doing my cardio. I'm burning more calories, but I'm still eating. It's not like I'm dropping my calories as well. My calories stay the same. So the calorie deficit increases, but not by you dropping your food, which makes you lose fat and not muscle. So minimum 8K steps a day at a brisk walking pace. And, low intensity steady state cardio. What I do is like either a seated bike or a incline treadmill for 25 minutes. And don't do the Stairmaster. This is just like, I found is like very depressing way to do your cardio, especially on your cuts. It's quite like hard, and the amount of calories you burn for how hard it is not good. So keep the intensity to 130 to 140 beats per minute. If you go too overboard with your intensity for your cardio on top of your intense training, this could, be kind of dangerous for recovery, and, gets kind of messy there. Your cortisol will spike, and because you're on a calorie restriction, this could help. This could, hinder recovery and all that stuff. So, put your hands on the heartbeat monitor and check you're doing it 130 to 140 beats per minute. Don't go above that. Don't go below that. And I would say don't do high intensity interval training. It's like sprints or, there's that bike, what do you call it? The assault bike, nothing like that. Okay. Just stick to low intensity steady state cardio. Again, you need to maximize recovery, and high intensity cardio is great, but to be on the safer side and to avoid losing muscle, you want to limit your intensity, for cardio, if that makes sense. And then make sure you're, doing your cold showers and saunas as often as you can, getting in morning sunlight, dialing in your sleep, cold, dark, quiet room. Don't go on your phone past 10 p.m. and meditate to monitor your stress levels. This is another thing I found which really helped me, because, naturally when you're cutting your calories, you could, depending on like where you start off, you could experience, higher stress levels perhaps, but typically not. Anyways, meditation is a great habit to incorporate into your daily routine, but meditation just basically gets rid of stress, and this is also very anabolic when you're trying to maintain your muscle, because if you're too stressed, your body's going to take away, it needs more energy, and it's going to take that energy from your muscles, so you could enter a catabolic state. So yeah, that's it for recovery. So now with calories, okay? Big mistake that some people make, and I made, is if you go too low in calories, you will not only likely lose muscle on top of that, but also you will experience a drop in testosterone, which is not good for energy, for mood, and a bunch of other things. So, I would say for everyone here, 300 to 400 calorie deficit. Okay, stick to that for 10 weeks or 12 weeks. Don't go below that, just to avoid, getting hungry and losing muscle and, damaging your hormones. It's a great way to start. So if my main calories is 2,800, I would eat either 2,500 or 2,400 calories a day on top of my cardio and all that stuff. 13 calories, and this a way to calculate it easily is to just add times 13 calories per pound of your goal body weight. Okay, so if I'm not going to try to do math right now. For fat loss, I would aim for losing around 1 pound per week, but it can be even as low as 0.75 pounds per week. And it can, so as long as you're hitting that range, that's a great way that's a great sign. Okay. Anything more can put you at risk of losing muscle. Anything less means that, you're probably not losing as much fat as you need to. So therefore you can adjust the calories as necessary. If you're losing weight too slow, cut 200 calories. If you're losing weight too fast, so if you're losing like 2 pounds a week, then best to add 200 calories to avoid muscle loss. Now this again this wouldn't apply to obese people. Obese people, when cutting, they can lose a lot of weight very quickly, and a lot of that will be fat. So the non-obese people do this. The obese people, don't worry if you're losing weight too quick. That's a good thing. And again, for those of you who can't track your calories, you're gonna need to roughly track your calories on a cut. Again, like I said last video, look to invest into a meal prep delivery service. These can be life-changing and really helpful, and make sure you hit your macros. But eat your lean meats, fruits, veggies, eggs, potatoes. Just base your diet around those foods. And it's very important, you have to hit your protein intake on a cut to maintain your muscle that you've built. So I'd say minimum 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you want to be extra safe, maybe 1.25 or 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But when you're cutting, you want to hit your 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. When you're bulking, you can eat 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Doesn't make a difference. But when you're cutting, I would say to be on the safe side, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I'm going to give you guys my fat loss hacks that I did. These basically essentially is fasting, right? But the reason I suggest this is it will play with your insulin sensitivity and your glucose monitoring, and basically get rid of cravings. You won't be craving chocolate or sugar or junk food, because it really helps, revive your hormone signaling, which has been destroyed from, years of indulging in like sweets and sugar when you were like a young boy. So that one, it helps with cravings. Two, it's really easy to keep your calories low because you're eating in a shorter time period. So it helps you support like a leaner body. And it doesn't seem to affect testosterone. In fact, it could have the opposite. It could improve your hormone levels. It can raise growth hormone, which helps preserve muscle during your cut and helps increase metabolism, which is obviously going to help you burn more fat. So yeah, the way you do it is you fast first 4 hours of the day, not too much. Otherwise, you could put yourself at risk again of losing muscle, especially in a cut. So if you wake up at 8 a.m., fast till 12 p.m. During this fast, drink water, plenty of water, sparkling water to help with appetite suppression, black coffee, or even your pre-workout if you're going to the gym during this window. But yeah, this can really help make it so much easier to cut because you have a short time period in which you can eat. So you eat less, and it improves your appetite. So like your leptin signaling, your ghrelin signaling, you won't be hungry all the time. You'll be hungry at a normal amount, if that makes sense. You won't be like hungry as soon as you wake up, for example, which is, not normal. And just put in perspective, another tip, don't drink your coffee as soon as you wake up. So wait 60 to 90 minutes before having your coffee or your pre-workout. One, because it will provide longer lasting energy throughout the day. So you'll have energy throughout the day if you wait a bit before having coffee or caffeine. And as a result, it will better suppress your appetite. Whereas if you just wake up and straight away have your coffee or one, it's going to have less of an effect for your energy. You're going to like get energy quick, then crash quick, then you're going to crave food. So this can actually be like really bad if you have caffeine too early. So wait a bit and then have it. This can also help, as I said, with your appetite. And I would say eat 3 meals a day. One first is a smaller first meal, with those foods that I talked about, lean meat, fruits, veggies, eggs, potatoes. Then the second meal should be like a larger meal. So like double the size of your first meal. And then you can either, just you decide when you want to go to the gym, fasted after 1 meal, after 2 meals. And then your final meal should also be like a regular sized, meal like the first one. But make sure your second meal is like a larger one, like a big steak and, potatoes and veggies, a heft one. And, if you want to snack on an apple, an orange juice, or a protein bar, or, even like a little treat as well, like those little Magnum ice creams. That's what I always used to have. And I still got lean because, obviously they're low calories, they're mini, but also because I was doing my cardio, I had calories to play with, an extra 200 calories. I could just have a little Magnum ice cream, help me with my cut, and still be, getting shredded. So yeah, but obviously you need to track to make sure that ice cream isn't ruining it for you. But this is what I found, is the best strategy for me, and probably for you. You can visualize it here. So, first meal, last meal by 8 p.m. so that you sleep well. And I would say one cheat meal or one drink per week. Okay. Nothing more, or else then you can put your progress on your cut at risk. And in fact, if you don't have the best genetics for fat loss like me, you probably will put your, fat loss progress at risk if you have like multiple drinks or cheat meals a week. So keep it at one, a nice refeed. Go get a nasty pump, go take a photo because you're filled up with carbs, but no more than that, okay? And that's it, okay? Thanks for watching. Again, I would say plan a 10-week cut this summer. That's what I'm doing. If you want to start with me, I'm starting, I think May 12th. I'm doing a 10-week cut, 10-week prep to try get, gonna stick to it. I haven't done a cut in a while. I've been coping. I've just been bulking, but I'm lean bulking until then. And then in May, I'm going to start my 10-week cut. So I wouldn't say it needs more than 10 weeks, maximum, 3 months. You should be lean bulking for 9 months and cutting for 3 months of the year. So yeah, hope this helps. Again, if you want to take notes, this should help you get rid of cravings, keep you satiated on your cut, and help you, most importantly, maintain your muscle and not lose your muscle, which is what happens to a lot of people because they, do the mistakes that I talked about. So thank you for watching. Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.